Because there's 100 million TV channels out there now, there's only 6 people watching each channel. So I'm not real surprised. When there were 3 channels, you had 20 million people watching each channel. I sort of just take it as it goes. I didn't get in this to be famous. I got into it to be an actor. And whatever happens, happens. Look, most people walk right past me on the street, and then one guy will stop and wet himself. But that's pretty rare. But I'm grateful to those people because they forced Ash vs. Evil Dead to happen. Those mega fans would not shut up about it, no matter what we say. So, you did it. Yeah. Hi folks, I'm Bruce Campbell. I'm here talking about Ash vs. Evil Dead. Hit it, Reddit. We had very difficult time trying to finish the movie, period. So it wasn't like, wow, this movie's gonna be really successful. It took us 2 years to complete it. We kept running out of money. So to us, it was really just a struggle to complete it. For me, when the first Evil Dead came to my local showcase cinema in Pontiac, Michigan, in whatever, 1981 or 2, and showed in my theater where I would watch the Poseidon Adventure as a kid, that's when we made it in my mind. Because it was a very difficult thing to envision that you would one day make a movie that would show in your actual theater. It was one thing to show an amateur movie on a sheet in your parents' basement. That's a whole different story. But this makes it real. And so I didn't care what happened. I didn't care what the box office was or if we ever made another movie. Because I was like, we did it. No, but I get lonely enough to go on Reddit. That's pretty lonely. Two can play that game, buddy. Kind person, I don't do that ever. But I appreciate the fact that you think I'm that stupid.
Hail to the king, baby.
I would have a multitudinal device. I would be able to unclick my hand and put on grappling hook, crossbow, smasher fist. It would be a very useful tool. It wouldn't just be one thing. A device to pick my nose. If I had a chainsaw for a hand, first thing I would do, cut a cord of wood because winter's coming. Second thing I'd hire myself out as just like a tree trimmer kind of guy. You know, hang with one hand, cut with the other. I'd be pretty good at that eventually. I hope you win your bet. The answer is that we do have multiple chainsaws. We have functional ones. We have what I call Mr. Wiggly, where you can do fight scenes and you won't hurt anybody because it's more of a plastic chainsaw. But yeah, it's, you know, builds up the right arm a little bit. And the reason why I cut my right hand off in the movie is because I'm left-handed. So I wanted to be able to be left with my left hand. Because if I cut off my left hand, then my right hand would be left. To get chicks, don't use a pickup line. Don't use any pickup lines. However, there was one pickup line from Army of Darkness that I know for a fact worked. A guy translated, "Give me some sugar, baby," from Army of Darkness into Mandarin Chinese because he was working in China. He went into a bar in Beijing and used that on a woman and got laid. So I know that there is some power in those pickup lines if they're really, really good ones. But for the most part, if you role play or play a game, you're gonna get nowhere fast. You gotta be who you are from the go-get. The Evil Dead movies were lots of injuries, but I only went to the hospital once. During Army of Darkness, I was flipping a stunt guy down some stairs and the breastplate of my costume dug into my chin. And after the take, people were like, "You're bleeding." I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I looked down, my breastplate was covered with blood. So they took me in full Ash costume, in makeup, I already had 8 cuts on my face that were from other parts of the movie. And I got in the emergency room and the doctor they got goes, "Which one is it?" I'm like, "Can't you tell?" So they stitched me up, and the nice thing is I just showed back up on set with a new cut. So you couldn't even tell. If this was a soap opera, you know, it would have been a bad situation. But because it was Army of Darkness, no one seemed to care. So we just kept shooting. Well, if you think that I am Ash, you need help. That necklace was one of the crappiest pieces of jewelry I think I've ever seen in my life. Sam picked it out. He was so excited when he got it because the shape of it is a little magnifying glass with a chain around it that would go around her neck. We bought it at Corey's Jewel Box in Michigan for this thing, and I'm like, Sam, that's the ugliest piece of jewelry I've ever seen. He's like, shut up, it's gonna be in the movie. He wanted, when the morning sun came in through the window as Ash is struggling mightily to defeat these evil dead, he was gonna take the sunlight and refract it through Linda's magnifying glass necklace and burn the Book of the Dead. For whatever reason, that shtick didn't work, so we didn't use it, so we were just stuck with an ugly necklace. So no, I don't have it because I would have destroyed it with a hammer. Hopefully not Ash, because he's kind of a moron. I'll take Briscoe, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. He was the closest I've ever played to actually being like a real hero, not that flawed. He was smart, he was capable. So that would be me on my absolutely best day. Ash would be me on my worst day. Well, that damned Oldsmobile is still in Ash vs. Evil Dead, the actual real Oldsmobile. We put it on a boat and we shipped it to New Zealand where we filmed. So that is Sam's personal car that I rode in when I was in high school. And I know he's got them all numbered. He has 4 of them, but there's only one that's the original. Excellent question. For me, TV's a little more fun. Movies can tell a bigger, better, more richer story, but television moves the pace that I want it to move. There's no crapping around in television. You show up, say your lines, have your lunch, get out of there. Features can be excruciatingly, painfully slow. The script for Bubba Hotep was a very unique script, and the reason there has not been a sequel is because we have not been able to come up with a script that is as good as the first one. And I know now, after having some experience, that your script is like your blueprint for your building, and if your blueprint is pointed in a funny direction, that's the way your building is gonna go. So if you have a script that is subpar, it's gonna be a subpar movie, and none of us wanted to do that with Bubba because a lot of people really dig it. So, you know, at the end of the day too, it's also okay to not make a sequel. We've all gone a little sequel crazy, a little remake crazy, myself included. It's okay for original ideas to get made and made once. That's what they used to do. It's just gotten a little chronic now. Yes, Ash feels very different now because now I know how to act. The very first Ash, I couldn't act my way out of a wet paper bag. So I'm actually very glad to go back and fix Ash now like George Lucas fixed his movies. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go back there and we're gonna create an Ash that can speak in full sentences now. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I kept about a dozen shirts. I kept the best ones that I liked the most. The only problem with actually wearing those shirts from the actual show is you'll be sitting there somewhere and someone will go by and go, it's too much of a connection. They'll make that connection. They'll point their finger at you and it's like you're wearing a target. Like, you know, at the end of a lot of shoots, everyone gets a crew jacket. Army of Darkness, crew. I can't wear those things. It makes me a beacon, a target. So I have a closet full of crew jackets that I can't wear. That's a good name. Spanky Jackson. Spanky, the reason why Americans are so fat is because they eat 5-course meals. Stick with 2 courses, salad and a light protein. A piece of meat the size of your fist, no bigger. Well, that's even too big. Like a deck of cards. People eat these Fred Flintstone steaks. They have these giant plates at restaurants now that are the size of the width of your shoulders, and they have to fill those plates with too much food. It's a bit of a travesty. Well, I'm sort of entering the game show phase of my career. I hosted a show called Last Fan Standing for Con TV. We did 10 episodes. So I got my Wink Martindale on. I get it. I would host one day. I'm hoping to host a show, actually. Playing Reagan in Fargo was great. My buddy John Cameron, who produces the show, we're high school buddies. We go all the way back. My kids grew up in the Reagan era during my formative years, and so John and I would imitate him mercilessly, just because he was a very imitatable president. You know, his mannerisms, the way he spoke and everything. You know, look, every actor wants to do a couple of things in life. Like I played Elvis, now I've done Ronald Reagan. So I played a cowboy. Those are some of the bucket list things that actors do. They want to play certain iconic roles, and it's great. The one thing I had to do was take it seriously. A, because it's Fargo, they win Emmys. And B, because there would be Ronald Reagan fans who would chase me down and beat me with sticks if I made him look like a jerk or a moron or whatever. You know, the trick is to humanize the man. Well, the word celebrity, I think, is way overused. To you, I'm a celebrity, but to me, I'm not a celebrity. To me, someone who's a celebrity is like a Kardashian, where you go through the airport and you're surrounded by people, you're tormented by people, you're hounded by people, and you like it. I moved to rural Oregon for a reason. I don't want people going through my trash because where I live, they'll shoot you. So I kind of like that. And my neighbors don't care that I'm an actor. A week after I moved into my place in Oregon, a rancher from across the street drove up my driveway in his old beat-up Lincoln Continental. And he got out and says, "I understand you used to be a cowboy in a TV show." I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Well, why don't you come on down here on Saturday? We're going to run 100 head of cattle up the road. You want to help?" I was like, "Is this a test?" So I said, "You got an extra horse?" He said, "Yeah, I got a horse." I said, "I'll be there." So at 8 o'clock on a Saturday, I showed up with a dumb Hawaiian shirt and a floppy Western hat, and we herded 100 head of cattle up the road, and I met all my neighbors in one day. Well, Reddit, it's been swell. I really appreciate your time, and I have to say, I really appreciate your support of Ash versus Evil Dead. We respect you for that, we thank you for that, and hopefully we will not let you down. Thanks for your time.